A pig's head thrown at a footballer, earthquakes caused by goals, matches banned by governments. In football, some rivalries go beyond sport. They divide cities, shake nations, and outlive generations. These aren't just games. They're battles between classes, religions, histories, and identities. From Buenos Aires to Cairo, Glasgow to Istanbul, these 12 rivalries show just how far football can push people. Barcelona versus Real Madrid. El Clásico isn't just a rivalry, it's a proxy war. Barcelona represents Catalonia, which wants independence. Real Madrid represents the Spanish crown, which says absolutely not. Franco's dictatorship backed Real Madrid so hard they won 5 straight European Cups. Barcelona responded by becoming more than a club and teaching kids tiki-taka in their academy. The rivalry gave us peak Messi versus Ronaldo, with both players putting on legendary performances that redefined what was possible in football. Figo, switching from Barca to Real in 2000, caused such rage that when he returned in 2002, a fan threw a pig's head at him. Luis Enrique did the reverse and became a Barcelona legend, proving loyalty is just contract negotiations with extra steps. They've played 257 times with Real slightly ahead, with 105 wins to Barcelona's 104 wins. Mourinho once turned that margin into a mission, stacking his defense so deep against Barca it felt like watching a medieval siege. The rivalry peaks when they meet in the Champions League, where whoever loses spends the summer explaining why moral victories matter more than actual ones. Boca Juniors versus River Plate. The Super Clásico makes other derbies look like chess matches. Boca is the working-class club from the docks. River is the millionaires' club that literally moved to a richer neighborhood. Argentine fans throw so much paper, it looks like a ticker-tape parade hosted by people who hate each other. The 2018 Copa Libertadores final got moved to Madrid because River fans attacked Boca's bus with rocks and tear gas. River got relegated in 2011, and their fans cried on live TV while Boca fans partied for a week straight. Maradona played for Boca, which automatically makes them cooler. River produced Alfredo Di Stefano, who then won everything with Real Madrid. Police separate fans with a buffer zone wider than most penalty areas. La Bombonera Stadium literally shakes when Boca scores, registering on actual seismographs. The rivalry is so intense that players switching sides need bodyguards, therapy, and possibly new identities. When they play, Buenos Aires literally stops functioning. Manchester United versus Liverpool. Before oil money ruined everything, this was English football's main event. Liverpool dominated the 70s and 80s, winning European Cups like they were going out of style. Then Ferguson showed up at United and said, not anymore. United knocked Liverpool off their perch by winning 13 Premier Leagues, while Liverpool won exactly 0 for 30 years. The cities hate each other dating back to the Industrial Revolution, when Manchester built a canal specifically to avoid using Liverpool's port. Both clubs had tragedies that changed football, Munich for United, Hillsborough for Liverpool, making the rivalry deeper than trophies. When Liverpool finally won the league in 2020, United fans had to watch during lockdown, which was probably for the best. The matches produced moments like Gerrard's 38-second red card and Suarez refusing to shake Evra's hand because maturity is optional. Combined, they've won 40 league titles, 9 Champions League trophies, and probably caused millions in therapy bills across Northwest England. Sky Sports treats their matches like the Super Bowl, except both teams actually show up ready to play. Al Ahly versus Zamalek. The Cairo derby is what happens when 100 million Egyptians pick sides. Al Ahly has won 44 league titles. Zamalek has won 14 and acts like they've won 44. The Egyptian government sometimes bans fans because 70,000 people with flares and grievances is technically a revolution waiting to happen. In 2012, 74 Al Ahly fans died in Port Said, turning football rivalry into national tragedy. The clubs are so massive that African football basically runs through Cairo. They finally met in the African Champions League final in 2020, with the loser claiming the referee was clearly biased, blind, or both. Players who switch between them need to delete social media, change phone numbers, and possibly enter witness protection. The rivalry splits families, with marriage proposals getting rejected over club allegiance. Egyptian TV dedicates entire channels to arguing about which club is bigger. Mohamed Aboutrika became Al Ahly's greatest player by scoring in derbies and making Zamalek fans question their life choices. The atmosphere is so intense that neutral referees refuse to officiate unless paid danger money. Celtic versus Rangers. The Old Firm isn't about football. It's about whether you're Catholic or Protestant in a city that really cares about the answer. Celtic was founded for Irish Catholic immigrants, Rangers traditionally signed Protestants only until Mo Johnston ruined their whole thing in 1989. The rivalry includes Northern Ireland's politics because Glasgow needed more reasons to be divided. They've played over 446 times, which is 446 times too many, according to police budgets. When Rangers got liquidated in 2012 and reformed, Celtic fans still sing about it every match. The atmosphere is so hostile that away fans get police escorts to their seats. Players crossing the divide become either legends or traitors with no middle ground. Kenny Dalglish played for Celtic, then escaped to Liverpool because he apparently valued his life expectancy over Glasgow sectarianism. The Scottish government tried banning sectarian songs, which worked about as well as banning breathing. The teams combined won 110 league titles out of 128 total, making Scottish football basically a two-horse race where the horses genuinely want each other dead. Fenerbahçe versus Galatasaray. The intercontinental derby divides Istanbul harder than the Bosphorus. Fenerbahçe plays in Asia, Galatasaray in Europe, and yes, this matters enormously to people who take ferries to fight. Turkish fans invented intimidation with "Welcome to Hell" banners, flares that could guide planes, and noise levels that damage equipment. Graham Souness planted a Galatasaray flag in Fenerbahçe's center circle, starting a diplomatic incident that required actual diplomats. The rivalry is so intense that players get stabbed for scoring winners. Matches regularly feature lasers in goalkeepers' eyes, coins thrown like it's a wishing well, and referees questioning their career choices. When they meet in Europe, UEFA knows to keep disciplinary officers on speed dial because chaos is practically guaranteed. Fenerbahçe claims Galatasaray bought referees. Galatasaray claims Fenerbahçe can't accept being second best. Both might be right. Red cards fly around these matches like confetti at a very angry wedding. Police separate fans by neighborhoods, bridges, and possibly continents if they could. Turkish football without this rivalry would be like kebab without sauce. Technically possible, but why would you want it? AC Milan versus Inter Milan. The Derby della Madonnina features two clubs sharing a stadium but nothing else. AC Milan was founded by Englishmen. Inter split off because they wanted to sign foreigners, making their name literally international out of spite. Milan wears red and black looking like sophisticated devils. Inter wears blue and black looking like less sophisticated devils. They've won 10 Champions Leagues between them, making San Siro the most successful home address in football. The 2005 Champions League quarters saw Milan win, after Inter fans turned the match into a fireworks display that got so out of hand, even the players just stood there watching like confused tourists. When they met in the 2023 Champions League semis, UEFA's TV ratings department threw a party. Berlusconi owned Milan while Moratti owned Inter, turning the derby into a billionaire pissing contest with trophies. Players who've played for both include Pirlo, Seedorf, and Ronaldo, who apparently enjoyed being hated by half of Milan at all times. The rivalry peaked when Mourinho's Inter won the treble, then immediately left because you can't top perfection. Persepolis versus Esteghlal. Tehran divides into red and blue like the world's most intense color war when this derby is played. Persepolis and Esteghlal pack 100,000 into Azadi Stadium, where Azadi means freedom, but irony isn't dead. The rivalry survived revolution, war, and sanctions, and still somehow kicks off at 6. Persepolis fans wear red with religious devotion, while Esteghlal supporters bleed blue, creating a citywide chromatic civil war that would make Crayola executives weep. The government sometimes bans women from attending, then reverses it, then bans it again. It changes so often it should have its own transfer window. Players celebrate goals by running to their own fans because approaching the wrong end means learning Persian curse words the hard way. The derby represents working-class Persepolis versus establishment Esteghlal, though both sets of ultras seem equally good at pyrotechnics. Ali Parvin became Persepolis's greatest player by tormenting Esteghlal for 18 years straight. The rivalry is so intense that fans treat every match like it's the final game ever played on Earth. State media tries staying neutral, but camera angles somehow always favor whoever's winning. Both clubs claim the other buys referees, which would be impressive given the economy. Bayern Munich versus Borussia Dortmund. Der Clásico is what happens when German efficiency meets football hatred. Bayern wins the Bundesliga so often they probably have a subscription service. Dortmund exists to remind them it's technically a competition. The rivalry intensified when Dortmund won back-to-back titles under Klopp, making Bayern executives lose their minds and buy Götze, Lewandowski, and Hummels, because if you can't beat them, dismantle them. Dortmund's yellow wall holds 25,000 standing fans who create noise that registers on the Richter scale. Bayern responds by winning everything anyway, because German engineering applies to trophy cabinets too. The 2013 Champions League final at Wembley was peak rivalry. Bayern won 2-1 and Dortmund fans still claim Dante fouled Royce. When they play, German TV viewership hits Super Bowl numbers, except the halftime show is just people eating currywurst aggressively. Lewandowski scored 27 goals against Dortmund after leaving them, which is professionally insulting. The rivalry represents new money versus old money, except both have tons of money and spend it on players from each other. Wydad versus Raja Casablanca. Casablanca splits red and green harder than Christmas decorations. Both clubs share Stade Mohammed V, turning home advantage into a philosophical question. Wydad fans create typhos so elaborate they need architectural permits. Raja responds with choreographed displays that make the Bolshoi ballet look amateur. The rivalry goes beyond football. It's neighborhoods, politics, and whose tagine recipe is better. North African football runs through this derby, with both clubs dominating continental competitions when not destroying each other. The noise during derbies is so loud that seismologists register it as minor tremors. Players need military escorts to games because Casablanca traffic is dangerous enough without adding football hatred. The rivalry has produced countless explosive moments, including riots that prove passion sometimes overrides common sense about damaging your own stadium. Moroccan TV dedicates entire shows to analyzing which set of ultras had better pyrotechnics last derby. Raja claims to be the people's club, while Wydad represents the establishment, creating a class war disguised as football. Security for derbies involves more personnel than most military operations, and somehow still isn't enough. Flamengo versus Fluminense. The Fla-Flu turns Rio into a war zone with better music. Flamengo has 40 million fans who all claim to have been at the Maracanã in 1963 when 194,000 showed up. Fluminense has fewer fans, but they're richer, which Flamengo fans mention constantly while checking their bank balances. The rivalry started in 1912 when Fluminense players left to form Flamengo, making this football's longest-running breakup drama. They've played each other more times than anyone can properly count. The 1995 Carioca final saw Renato Gaucho score his famous belly goal for Fluminense against Flamengo in their centenary year, achieving peak shithousery. Romario played for both, scored for both, and probably still gets Christmas cards from both. The derby represents beach culture versus country club, though both sets of fans seem equally good at carnival. Brazilian TV treats Fla-Flu like a telenovela with worse acting but better plot twists. The Maracanã during derbies looks like a massive therapy session where everyone chose violence. Zico became Flamengo's greatest player by making Fluminense fans suffer for 2 decades, which in Rio is considered performance art. Benfica versus Porto. O Clásico divides Portugal into north and south like a very angry Mason-Dixon line. Porto represents the working north, Benfica, the capital establishment, and both think the other is ruining Portuguese football. They've won 68 leagues between them out of 91 total, making Portuguese football essentially a private party. The rivalry features presidential press conferences that sound like rap battles with worse rhythm. Benfica claims Porto buys referees. Porto claims Benfica controls the media. Sporting CP claims to exist, but nobody's listening. The matches feature players getting sent off for basically existing in the wrong postal code, which is peak O Clásico energy. Players who switch between them need PR teams, bodyguards, and possibly new identities. Portuguese TV analyzes every tackle like the Zapruder film. The rivalry intensified when Porto started winning European Cups, making Benfica fans explain why the 1960s still count. Jorge Jesus managed both Benfica and Sporting because he enjoys being hated by 2/3 of Portugal at all times. When they play, Portuguese emigrants worldwide stream matches illegally while arguing in comment sections, proving you can leave Portugal but O Clásico follows you.